Today I'm going to tell you about 5 things you need to know about Kenyan McDuffie. First, on Kenyan McDuffie. He came into office in 2012. This is because Harry Thomas Jr. resigned after the FBI got him on embezzling. He was passing legislation that funded nonprofits, which funneled money back to him. That allowed him to go buy his boat and other nice assets. So there's a special election, and McDuffie won. But this year, he could have ran for Ward 5 again, which would probably win easy peasy. But instead, he's decided to go big.
As your next Attorney General, I will work tirelessly.
He went for Attorney General. Except something crazy happened. Watch what happened next.
Current D.C. Councilmember Kenyan McDuffie was kicked off the ballot last week. Another candidate, Bruce Paiva, challenged McDuffie's qualifications, claiming McDuffie is not actively engaged as an attorney in D.C., which the law requires.
D.C. law requires that candidates for this position have been, quote, actively engaged as a lawyer for 5 of the last 10 years. A few weeks ago, the D.C. Board of Elections ruled McDuffie did not meet the qualifications.
Wow, would you look at that? He's been on the council for 10 years, not being an attorney for the last 10 years, officially in an attorney capacity, and the Board of Elections recognizes this, and so then he got kicked off the ballot, but it's already too late to run for his Ward 5 spot. And so what did he do? He decided to change his party affiliation from Democrat to Independent so he can run for the council at large. The 2 at-large council spots are reserved for candidates of different parties, when really we could have Anita Bonds, who won the Democratic primary, and then Kenyan McDuffie, who was a Democrat a year ago. Instead, he's running as an independent, when really that extra vote we have should be going to someone of the Republican, Libertarian, or Statehood Green Party. So I think there's definitely kind of a moral dilemma there, in my personal opinion. The other crazy thing is, when he announced his run for Attorney General, he had his big announcement, and he had all of his advisors and his counsel around him, and none of these counselors were like, hey man, I'm sure you qualify to be Attorney General. You know, we're doing all this work, collecting all these signatures, and making all these ads and commercials, and none of these dudes are like, hey man, I'm not sure if you should do this, if it's legal. Anyway, instead of running another Ward 5 race, he's running an at-large race, competing with 2 of his colleagues. So there's going to be one person who's on the council right now who won't be on the council come January. So that's interesting. Got a few more things about Kenyan McDuffie here. He had for his commercial, Kenyan's commercial, it talks about his neighborhood called Stronghold. And here you got some drone footage of some nice suburban place, which is kind of weird because drones are illegal in DC. And there's nowhere in DC that kind of looks like that. In this video, you can see that he lives in a row house. And not that, so I don't know, fake houses in his commercial, but it's stock footage, it's whatever. You do what you can do. Here's the next thing you need to know. So according to Kenyan McDuffie, if the Navy Yard developers want to name a street and a square after a neighborhood hero of Navy Yard, he's a little bit reluctant to do that if the Navy Yard community wants to honor a military figure who's a man who happens to be white.
There are a lot of memorials and streets named after white male military figures, and I don't know if we need another one being named after one these days, but it sounds like it's already been the case that the street is named after him. It might make sense to name the square after him as well.
I don't see a big problem with that, but whatever. Tingy Square is a fine place. Let's learn about the last thing about Kenyan for this video. The Players Lounge is a local business that's been on the same spot on MLK for decades, and they have the privilege of owning their own property. However, the way they manage their business and the exorbitant taxes that DC places on local businesses, they've been unable to pay, and they petitioned DC for a tax exemption. Usually tax exemptions are given to like nonprofits, but for this special case, they made special legislation so Georgina's, aka the Players Lounge, can break the rules and not have to pay taxes.
I'm in the business of helping close a racial wealth gap in District of Columbia, and you all owning that property is absolutely essential to you, but also to whoever might benefit from it for generations to come in your family. And so
Kenyan McDuffie says he's trying to narrow the racial wealth gap, but this isn't going to do anything for that. What he's really doing is rewarding failure. it'd be a lot better for the community if DC didn't tax its commercial properties so much, and that would decrease the obstacles for restaurants in this town. And also, if they do go out of business, some other restaurateur would have the chance to make a better restaurant that could have a better going concern.